Although the majority of this episode was told in flashback form, it really highlighted the necessity for unity and trust amongst your fellow man or woman. Bite. 57th Expedition Beyond the Walls, Part 3 of Attack on Titan. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters and female titans and abnormal titans of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, and I'm here to bring you another review on the awesome and gruesome and grotesque and finger-biting tale of, you guessed it, Attack on Titan. Now, this past episode, and to tell you the truth, I did originally see these last year. Obviously, the Japanese, in Japanese with the English subtitles. So I've gone through the series, and because I went through when it was almost at its completion, I was watching and recording reviews for 2 or 3 of them a day over the course of a couple of weeks. So I didn't quite marathon it, but I didn't have to wait that week to week for each episode. And at the end of last week's episode, when things left off with the female Titan bearing down on Levi and his squad and Eren and everybody freaking out, and you see all these patrols in the back, this back rear guard just getting taken out by the Titan, I was thinking, I was like, man, the next episode is when the shit's about to go down, right? So that's what I was telling my family all week, you know, oh man, can't wait till next episode, can't wait till next episode. Honestly, all the episodes are good, but some of them I think are great, you know, so anyway, things wound up leaving off over there, obviously, when they're just, you know, the female Titan's like literally breathing down their neck. That's right where things pick up over here. And I did forget until I actually sat down and watched this one with my family this Saturday evening, that this one primarily takes place in a flashback. We get Eren at the beginning he's freaking out, right? He does not trust in Levi and his squad as of yet. He's very much I can take care of it myself, take charge. I'm not going to listen to anybody. I'm going to do what I want. And Petra is trying to explain to him because she sees him go to try to bite into his finger to change form, and she says, "You promised, you swore an oath that you would not do this, right? You got to keep your word. You got to man up, and you got to trust in Levi, trust in us." And Levi even says, "Do whatever you want. Do whatever you feel comfortable with, okay? Either way, I can't tell you one way is right or wrong, but I can tell you that we're not going to let you down if you choose to trust in us. If you choose to trust in us, that shows that you are part of this. You're part of this rank and file. You're part of this system. You're part of the plan, right? You're part of the solution and not part of the problem. If you go and bite into your hand, turn into a Titan, who knows what'll happen? We may have to kill you. You may become, I mean, he can't even remember when he turns into a Titan, so how can he expect to control that great power that he's wielding, right? With great power comes great responsibility. Anyway, what winds up happening, though, is we go into this flashback that takes up the majority of the episode, and this flashback shows to, in that in-between time, from the time that he obviously was kind of given over to Irvin and Levi's squad to train, and then, of course, you know, to when they actually left on this 57th expedition. And we see Eren, he's been put down in this well, and they want him to change into Titan form, you know, and he's in there, and he's biting on his finger, and he's biting on his finger, and nothing's happening, right? So we presume that hours or maybe even days go by and nothing is happening. He's sitting there going to sit down to have lunch with everybody, right? And everybody's kind of like, hey, what's the deal? How come you can't use your power? Blah, 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 you know? And a lot of Levi's squad is starting to like lose faith, thinking that maybe it was just a one-time thing. Whatever power it was that he had, maybe he now lost. He can't recapture that magic, so to speak. Eren, hands all bandaged up, right? Looks like he was the victim of a bad masturbating accident. He winds up going he drops his spoon or his fork and goes to bend over to pick it up. And when he makes contact with the metal fork for whatever reason or another, or spoon, all of a sudden he pops into Titan form. Not fully into Titan form, but like a giant arm pops out, right? And he's kind of like in the midst of it in this huge thing. And what I like is the whole setting for this was done real well, because there's a point right when he changes where he goes and he's like, "I'm sorry, this and that," and then you hear Levi going, you know, Captain Levi saying, "No, it's okay, calm down, just be calm," this and that. And you think that he's talking to Eren, right? And Eren's like, "Oh, it's okay, okay, sir, I'll get it under control," right? And as he goes and turns and looks, all of Levi's squad is now ready with swords drawn, ready to cut his ass down. He is someone that scares everybody. You think about it, we've been behind these walls, right? Think about, put yourself in the position of these humans. You've been behind these walls hiding for 100+ years now, right? And the only time that the walls have ever been breached is by, obviously, Titans. Titans have come in and just committed these atrocities. They eat people. People have lost friends, family, what have you, especially over the last 4 or 5 years as they lost the outer wall and what have you. So people are, they're jumpy, and they have good reason to be jumpy, right? Especially because it's like, oh, so you're telling me that this dude that just came out of, that just went through training and shit can go and, like, at will change into a Titan, the things that we fear the most, that eradicated 99% of the Earth's population? Fuck no, I wouldn't want him on my team either. But this whole episode for me was really building a familial bond and trust, okay? Trust amongst your fellow man, all right? It's the same type of trust that they say. I have family members that have been in the military or that are currently in the military. It's that type of bond and trust that you can develop when you're fighting side by side in life or death situations, and you can trust on your fellow man or woman. I'm not going to be sexist here. And that's really what this one is about. That's what I felt that it was about. The flashback itself, although not, super interesting and a little bit longer and a little more tedious than I would have liked, it only felt that way because I assumed that this was a different episode, that there was something different going on, And I think that'll wind up, if I remember correctly, if memory serves correct, that may be next week or the week after. So, anyways, as he comes out of the flashback, though, and decides to go, because he kind of has that whole epiphany, and he thinks in his mind, you know what? I will actually trust in these people that have decided to put their faith in me and their faith in the captain and their faith in Commander Erwin, and these people are putting their lives on the line to protect me. So I thought that it was done very well from the standpoint of the trust issue, right? And that'll eventually evolve and can come full circle with my episode question. But the episode winds up ending up as he comes out of that flashback, and Levi had gone and told everybody to cover their ears at the end of last episode. And then, of course, the beginning of this one, it just sort of transitioned back into and gave us a recap on that. And he fires this, and he tells everybody to cover their ears, and he fires one of those flares up in the air. And at first, I'm thinking maybe it's some kind of concussion grenade, maybe it's going to call, it's going to call down some kind of a sound type of thing. Anyway, what winds up happening is as they go and ride through, remember Erwin with all the wagons rode through first, right? Down that path. We saw him last episode. Well, I love this because the female Titan's running, she's bearing down, she's right on him, and all of a sudden, man, they go and they show the view from a couple hundred feet back, and they show everybody that's posted up in and around the trees with all of these, I mean, they're actually really cool. They're kind of like siege weapons, they look like. They look like old-time siege weapons that you would find, or that you would see in like a history book, right? And there's these things that fire like hundreds of arrows, harpoons, I guess you would say, harpoons, because they're like arrow tips that they're sticking into and grabbing onto it and shooting into the female Titan. But then they're also kind of holding her in place. Hundreds and thousands of these, that are obviously tied to these cables, ropes, whatever they're made from. I don't know if I'm assuming they're like steel cable or something like that. And we wind up seeing that they have finally caught this bitch, right? And that's the big thing here, is that this whole thing to begin with was obviously construed by Levi and by Erwin, but nobody else was told what the plan was, because they know that the female Titan, or they feel like the female Titan, because it's an abnormal, they feel like it's a person that maybe is amongst their ranks. They think that they have a traitor in their midst, and whether that's the female Titan or whether it's somebody that's communicating information to the female Titan. This was the plan, to be able to flush out that traitor and try to capture this female Titan so they can actually study it, figure out what the hell its weaknesses are, who the hell it is, all those type of things. So very, very cool stuff. And as I said, although it was lacking in the action department for the majority of the episode, it's fine because of the fact that it was really a story about building that trust amongst the fellow teammates and that camaraderie amongst your fellow man or woman. So that's how things wind up wrapping up. Absolutely, I thought it was awesome. And the cool thing is, again, it's nice to sit and watch this with my family, with my wife, with two of my kids. The youngest one is way too small for it, but anyway, and he's usually sleeping at that time of night when we watch it on Saturday or Sunday. But just absolutely great to see their faces, because they're, I just love it. And the voice acting for me is probably among the best that I've ever seen in anything that's ever been dubbed from Japanese into English. And I've seen a ton of different stuff that's not even anime related, but just basically my 2 cents on that is that they've done a great job, and about 99% of the characters and the voices for them, they fit very well. There's a great emotional tone to everything, and you feel like it's people that are actually, they're not just going through the motions, and that sometimes happens, and you lose some of that emotion. It's just lost in translation, and just depending on budgetary concerns and stuff like that, they get some second-rate voice actors that are just there for a paycheck, and they talk like they're just there for a paycheck, you know, as opposed to really putting their emotion and their heart and their soul into it and becoming that character. And that's what I like, is that many of these characters, the voices, they've become those characters, and that's what I enjoy. So the episode question for you, brothers and sisters, is what are your thoughts on Eren? And do you think that he did the right thing? What decision would you have made? Would you have trusted in Levi's squad and his plan or whatever it was, even though you didn't know what it was? Or would you have trusted in yourself and tried to turn into a Titan and take this big bitch out? Leave your answer to that question in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Nation. I would urge you to follow me on Facebook and Twitter and check out my other channels. But as always, thanks for watching.